Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Welcome to the BellisarioSonic YouTube channel from the heart of the Deep South on the outskirts of Birmingham. Tonight, pivotal artists, pivotal albums, episode number 12. If you've missed the first 11 episodes, there'll be a link below to a playlist that will have them all in there. I decided to start doing this series because I saw a lot of these different videos are ranking videos. So they'll get together, people get together and do ranking videos on rank all of Elvis's albums, rank all of, Pink Floyd's albums, beginning to the, top to bottom or whatever, number 1 to number 10. But what I thought was kind of missing was the personal element in regarding the particular albums and artists that really influenced you. In other words, not the greatest albums that Eric Clapton ever did, but the albums that actually influenced me the most, that caught my attention, that changed the way I viewed and listened to music, and then also altered the way I play music as a musician, primarily guitar. Robert Johnson is unique. He's going to be the focus of this episode, number 12. And Robert Johnson is unique because he only recorded two recording sessions, one in 1936 in San Antonio and one in 1937 in Dallas, Texas, which produced only 29 songs and 13 alternate takes, all recorded by a guy named Don Law. Now, the big thing that changed everything for me was this box set, 2 CD box set, the complete recordings, which contains all 29 songs and the alternate takes. And these 2 CDs stayed in my car for a long time. We're talking in regular rotation for 5 or 6 years. I mean, I listened to them a lot. They had a big effect on me. Eric Clapton turned me on to Robert Johnson, turned me on to the blues, really. And episode number 1 was on Eric Clapton. So if you want to check that out, go back and watch that when I talk about how important Eric Clapton was in getting me into the blues. So I listened to these 2 CDs in this box set for a long time. You can still find this box set online for very inexpensive. I recommend it. It comes with a nice book, goes through a brief biography of him, talks about the recording sessions, the influence that he had on rock music, and pretty cool. So I do recommend getting this. So I listened to Robert Johnson a long time. Many proclaim that the greatest guitarists are in the jazz genre. Yet I would say none of the jazz greats have anything on Robert. Robert is often talked about in reference to legend, in lore, and all of the great songs that he did write and how many of them were carried over into rock music. But very few people focus on his guitar playing, which is absolutely phenomenal. And as Eric Clapton said it best, it would take a life's work to master Johnson's technique, to be able to play like he did, sounding like 2 guitars and sing, do all of those runs that he's doing. And only a few people have ever achieved that, really, that are playing guitar. One of them being John Hammond Jr. If you've not heard him, go check him out on YouTube. He's one of the few that actually really emulates that feel of Robert Johnson. So his ability to play the way he plays and sing is pretty impressive. And in fact, many upon their first listen, Clapton talks about this, thought that there were 2 guitar players playing in Robert Johnson singing, playing guitar and somebody accompanying him, when in fact, he's playing all this by himself and singing at the same time. I've spent countless hours listening to these songs and they still amaze me and inspire me, unlike most any other musician. I think this is his music most emulates the music for loners, the one guy with his guitar traveling around, dropping in on the front porch, going to the juke joint, sitting down with just him and his guitar and entertaining people. His unique Delta blues form, I think, is a unique language that can keep you busy for a lifetime. And it's kept me busy and will probably keep me busy till the day I die. So when I talk about virtuosity on your instrument, musicality, phrasing, the language of Robert Johnson, I don't talk about this trivially. And speaking from a musical standpoint, I don't hesitate to say that even the greatest jazz guitar players have nothing on Robert Johnson. For those of you watching this channel know how much jazz means to me and how high I hold up the jazz genre when it comes to virtuosity, the language, the musicality, the effort that it goes into learning the jazz language. Well, when you try to go emulate Robert Johnson, it's very similar. And I'm going to talk about the improvisation that surrounds Robert Johnson as well, because you can hear that when you listen to the alternate takes. Now, if you're looking for a good vinyl version, I do recommend this Centennial Collection, the complete recordings as well. This is great to have on record. Wonderful collection. It sounds great for when they were recorded. Again, not the best quality recordings since they were recorded in 36 and 37. So, if all you can afford is just the box set, I recommend just getting your hands on this box set. Eric Clapton turned me on to Robert Johnson, as I've stated, and as I've talked about in that first Pivotal Artist, Pivotal Albums episode. And of course, Clapton most notably covered Crossroads, From 4 Until Late, Rambling on My Mind in his earlier recordings, but probably has now covered a large portion of Johnson's catalog, being that he's done 2 recording projects with nothing but Robert Johnson tunes. Clapton, however, is not the only popular musician to cover Robert Johnson. In fact, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Fleetwood Mac, ZZ Top, John Mellencamp, Rory Gallagher, Lucinda Williams, Johnny Winter, Foghat, Bonnie Raitt, the list goes on and on, are all these that have all covered Robert Johnson. So his legacy is one of the few that carried on long after his death. And in fact, I would argue the British invasion made him far more famous than he ever was alive. They really resurrected Robert Johnson and his music. And all that legend and lore that surrounded him also came with it, which a lot of it I think is grossly exaggerated. But it makes for a good story, and it makes for, that whole legend and lore, the Crossroads and all this kind of stuff. When you hear, reading about him and watching interviews with people that knew him say that was grossly exaggerated. He was a very quiet guy, although he did like to drink and party and love to play music and travel around. That he was not this kind of macabre figure that you hear about in the legends, okay? Now, when I began playing in the blues bands in my early 20s, all these songs, they had a huge influence on me, but they were electrified versions, which you could kind of get away with playing Crossroads or playing Sweet Home Chicago and doing a very simplified version of it. But when I began to take seriously playing the acoustic guitar, then I really began to dig into Robert Johnson on a technical level, and I still consider myself a beginner playing his songs. They're not easy to cover even when you simplify them, if you're going to do justice to them. They have a certain feeling. There's a definitive language that you have to internalize before you can really do any justice to any of his songs, especially when you're playing him acoustically, which is why I currently play in a 3-piece acoustic band. And we do play several of his songs. We call ourselves the Deadwood Ramblers. I have put a couple of videos of us online, and even with a 3-piece, it's very difficult to feel like you really done justice to the song. I've played a couple solo songs here on the YouTube channel, just having fun. And again, when I look at those, it's hard to say that I did justice to those songs, because when you listen to the original recordings, they are really mind-boggling. So we do Crossroads, Kind-Hearted Woman, Come On In My Kitchen, Sweet Home Chicago, Love in Vain, and Hellhound on My Trail. There are 3 of us, and it's still hard to do these songs justice. We can play these songs over and over and over. We can practice them and go play them out, and still we can always improve on them every single time. So Robert Johnson has offered me hours and hours of entertainment, as well as offering a complete clinic on playing guitar. So you could spend an entire life playing these tunes, and you can always improve on them. Not only this, but they offer an avenue for improvisation, which I think is grossly overlooked in the blues genre, because when you listen to these alternate takes, Robert is playing in the moment. He's extending the verses, shortening the verses. It's not just cookie cutter 12-bar songs. He's varying the tempos at times. He's making the verses longer or shorter. The different instrumental runs are different every time he comes around and plays them. And he's singing at the same time. It's not an exaggeration to say that learning Robert Johnson songs is a guitar clinic in and of itself. So he's very unique in this regard. He's a road to improving yourself as a guitar player, a singer, and a musician. So what I'm going to play is a cover of Walking Blues before I close out this video. And I'm going to play, it's going to be kind of a simplified version because I can't play it like Robert played it. But what I'm going to show you is the difference between playing a very basic version, which, you know, if you're playing it on an acoustic guitar and you're out on a gig, right? You might play Walking Blues like woke up this morning and I feel around for my shoes. Got that old feeling, Lord. Got them old walking blues. Woke up this morning and I feel around for my shoes. Woke up this morning and I get them old walking blues. Right? So you could do a very simplified version, play that over and over again, keep it straight 12 bar, very simple chord structure, right? With very simple changes and whatever. But if you want to take it and try to get that language, try to get that feel that he gets. And again, I'm not saying that I'm at the level where I can say I've done justice to this, but to give an example of what you have to strive for in order to do these songs justice, it would be something like this, okay? So, let me see if I can, I'm kind of sitting on a weird stool here, so. Let me just turn this stool around a little bit. All right, so something like this. When I woke up this morning, I feel right for my shoes. Got that old feeling, Lord. Oh, walking blues, I sit down. Woke up this morning and I feel around for my shoes. Woke up this morning and I feel got them rolling. When I woke up this morning, had to go ride the blind. I've been mistreated, Lord. I don't mind dying. I woke up this morning and I had to go ride the blind. Woke up this morning, I don't mind dying. So people gonna tell me that world blues ain't bad. I gotta tell you, no Lord, worst feeling I ever had. You gotta tell me what blues ain't bad. I gotta tell you, no Lord, worst feeling I ever had. Woke up this morning and I feel right for my shoes. Got that old feeling low. Oh, keep rocking now. Woke up this morning and I feel right for my shoes. Woke up this morning and I feel it all. Well, I woke up this morning and I had them all walking. Anyway, something like that. He's just something that you cannot, really difficult to imitate, difficult to make your own, and to make it sound good. You can spend, again, hours, weeks, days, years playing Robert Johnson, and it will continue to make you a better musician, a better guitar player, and really allow you to also work on your improvisation. So that's all I have for this episode of Pivotal Artists, Pivotal Albums. Robert Johnson. If you have not sat down and listened through his discography, I think it's something that will reward you if you're a big fan of music. Thank you for joining me. I'll be doing Jeff Beck next on Pivotal Artists, Pivotal Albums. Take care and happy listening.